Rise of Kael, the Dino Slayer. In a distant land where jungles stretched endlessly and the skies echoed with the roars of mighty dinosaurs, there lived a young man named Kael. He was lean, weak, and often overlooked in his small village. But Kael had a fire in his heart, a desire to protect those he loved. Life in the village was harsh. The people lived in fear of the dinosaurs that roamed the jungles, massive creatures that could crush homes and end lives with a single swipe of their tails. Kael's parents, siblings, and friends worked tirelessly to survive, always looking over their shoulders. One fateful night, a herd of raptors, led by a monstrous Tyrannosaurus Rex, descended upon the village. The beasts destroyed everything in their path. Kael's family fought bravely, but one by one, they were torn away from him. By morning, Kael was the only survivor, standing amidst the ashes of his home, broken and consumed by grief. Kael wandered aimlessly for days, his body weak from hunger and despair. Finally, he collapsed in the jungle, falling to his knees in a moment of utter hopelessness. His heart ached with the loss of his family, and he looked to the sky, praying silently. "Why?" Kael cried aloud, his voice hoarse. "Why would you let this happen? I've lost everything. If you hear me, grant me the strength to fight these monsters. Give me the power to avenge my family." The jungle grew still. The air was thick with silence, as if the world itself was holding its breath. Then, a deep, resonant voice echoed through Kael's mind, not from any physical form, but a presence that surrounded him. "Kael," the voice said, calm and powerful, "your grief has reached me. You have endured great suffering, but you have not given up. I shall grant you strength, not just to avenge, but to protect those who remain. Rise, my chosen warrior." A wave of warmth washed over Kael, and he felt an overwhelming surge of energy. His frail frame began to change. His muscles grew, his posture straightened, and his eyes blazed with newfound strength and resolve. In his hands, a glowing battle axe materialized, its blade sharp, shimmering with divine light. "This is the axe of eternity," the voice continued. "Wield it wisely, Kael. Power without purpose is nothing." With the divine gift of strength, Kael returned to the ruins of his village, where the same pack of raptors that had destroyed his home still prowled, searching for food. Kael's heart burned with rage, but his mind was clear with purpose. With a deafening roar of his own, Kael charged at the raptors. The beasts, sensing a mere human, lunged at him, but they underestimated his newfound power. With a single swing of the Axe of Eternity, Kael cleaved through two of them. The others circled him, claws ready to strike, but Kael moved faster than he ever thought possible, dodging and countering with devastating precision. When the dust settled, the raptors lay defeated, and Kael stood victorious. For the first time since the loss of his family, he felt hope. Kael did not stop there. He traveled the jungles, hunting the dinosaurs that threatened nearby villages. Each battle honed his skills, teaching him to anticipate the creatures' movements and use the terrain to his advantage. The villagers began to speak of the warrior who had risen from tragedy, the one who protected them from the beasts that once terrorized them. But Kael's true test awaited him. A dark force had awakened, and it manifested in the form of a massive Spinosaurus, more vicious and terrifying than any creature Kael had faced. Its roar shook the earth, and its jagged spine gleamed under the moonlight. This was the creature that had led the attack on Kael's village. Kael's memories of his family flooded his mind as he gripped the Axe of Eternity. This was his moment to fulfill the promise he had made, not only to avenge his family, but to protect all those who could not protect themselves. The battle was fierce. The Spinosaurus was relentless, its claws swiping with terrifying force, its jaws snapping inches from Kael's head. But Kael remained undeterred. With each strike of his axe, he weakened the beast. His movements were swift and precise, a reflection of the power and wisdom granted to him by the divine voice that had guided him. As dawn broke, Kael climbed onto the Spinosaurus's back, driving the Axe of Eternity deep into its spine. The beast let out one final deafening roar before collapsing to the ground. Kael stood over the creature's lifeless body, his chest heaving with exhaustion. He had avenged his family, but more importantly, he had fulfilled his vow to protect the helpless. The villages of the land came together, united under Kael's leadership, and together they built a world where humans could live in peace, free from fear of the dinosaurs.